For our service learning, we looked for some public schools in Tibás, and we found a school in the center of Tibás called Escuela Miguel Obregón Lizano. So we decided to perform our service learning there. Weeks later, we went there with a letter from the university to ask for permission to apply to a project, but they rejected us. Since we were in Tibás, we decided to look for other schools near, and we found another one in La Ciudadela Jesus Jiménez, called Escuela Jesus Jiménez Zamora. We talked with the safety ward and he let us in, and he took our letter to talk with the principal, but he wasn't available. So we wrote our 4 numbers in the letter hoping they will call us. We wanted to have another option see if the school didn't accept us. So after going to Escuela Jesus Jiménez Zamora, we looked again in Google Maps and we found the Unidad Pedagógica Rafael Araya Rojas in La Florida. When we got to the school, we noticed it was for elementary and high school, and also that they didn't have water at that time. We talked with the secretary and he was so nice with us and asked for the permission for us to apply the project there. The school gave us the permission to apply our service learning there, and the secretary tried to get us an interview with the principal, but it was not possible. So he took us to the library when we get the objectives, mission, and vision of the school. At the same day, we were able to apply the first part of the project, which was the interview, because the secretary took us to the classroom of the English teacher. The teacher made us very pleased and he was so willing to help us. At the break, the teacher sat with us and we had some time to ask him some questions about his work at the school and about his career.
In the observation of the class, the topic of the day was the importance of English as a global language. A text in simple present. There were 26 students, 14 boys and 12 girls. They had own desk. The students were copying a text which was being written by the teacher on the board. They were listening to relaxed music in English. They were pretty quiet and none of them had questions. Although it was very noisy outside the classrooms, the students stayed focused during the whole class. The student language level was the required at the level because, as we saw, they understood all the professor words and orders. The students paid careful attention to the teacher and seemed to understand all his vocal indications. The teacher always spoke, explained, and gave explanations in English. The children in that class were only exposed to listen. There was no time for them to speak. It was simply a class where they had to copy a text in English and listen to the teacher's instructions. The professor does not have own classroom, so he has to go to different classrooms to give the classes. He has a speaker for the music and has the information of the class in the cell phone. The class has some pictures and resources in the walls, but not of English. The material which he used as a source was read it from his cell phone and then he write it. We did not see that the teacher walked around with more kinesthetic or practical support material because he wrote the text on the board and then the students point to the question guide and fill it according to the text. The students that day did not use any textbook or photocopy for support.
English as global language. This was the topic that the students were analyzing the day of the observation. Based on it, we created our lesson plan. As objectives, we formulated the following points. To recognize which are the countries where English is spoken as the first language, and to demonstrate the cultural characteristics of those countries. To achieve these targets, it was necessary to make the students participate in different activities. First, to warm up, the students had to observe some flags and guess to which countries they belonged. Furthermore, they had to point them on the world map. We also reproduced the music in English originated in these countries. Besides that, they had to watch a video which showed the list of those nations. The main activity was to divide the students into 6 groups. Each of them received a text with cultural information and pictures about any of the watched countries. The students had to create crafts or roleplays to represent the assigned country using colored paper, modeling clay, pencils, and markers. Once it was done, they had to present their country to the rest of the class, simulating a stance. To wrap up, the students had to write down a question related to the topic on a piece of paper and make a ball with it. Then, they had to throw their balls of paper in the earth. And every student had to pick up a nearby ball and reply to the question. The purpose of these activities was to deploy all the skills: listening, reading, speaking, and writing. Due to an inconvenience with the school, we applied part of the plan to a group of university students. First of all, we asked them if they knew which are the countries where English is spoken as the first language. The answers were similar, but they didn't mention all of them. Then they watched a video about English around the world. Subsequently, the group was divided into 3 groups. Each of them received a text with facts about a country and started working with modeling clay. Finally, by presenting their crafts, they shared the new acquired knowledge about Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, and Singapore.